Welcome to Life with Jemma Blythe. This is your midweek coffee break, a pause for reflection, a sip of something warm, and a wander into the shadows where myths, mental health, and queer women's stories meet. Each week, we'll take a legend or a piece of folklore and turn it over, like a stone in your hand, to see what truths are hidden underneath. The eerie, the haunting, the half-forgotten. They all have something to tell us about survival, healing, and finding our own kind of magic. So, pour your coffee, settle in, let's step into the story.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your midweek coffee break here on Life with Jemma Blythe. This week, we are delving into the grey, the murky sea for a bit of a Scottish and an Irish myth legend, the one, the only Selkie. We are indeed looking at the skin we hide and parts of our personality we shed when it comes to being our honest, authentic selves. But before that, I just want to do a quick recap on last week, where we did the glorious, the grief-stricken La Llorona. And what a podcast that was. So throughout all these podcasts, we do different myths, legends, talk through them, really get to grips with how they impact on today's life. Something that we brush off as being historical, sometimes fictional, can have such a impact, and parts of our identity that we may not have known or noticed can quite often come from things that we take for granted or take as fiction, like Medusa, like La Llorona, and now like the Selkies. So they shed their skins to walk among us. So when we think about that, we shed parts of ourselves sometimes to make ourselves smaller, to minimize our personalities, to fit in, to come across properly, to mask, and all of that kind of stuff. But in doing that, we risk losing parts of ourselves. And so the story of the Selkies isn't one of disguises necessarily. It's one of loss and really isolation. So I want you to pour yourself a coffee, wrap yourself up in something warm, and get to grips with the Selkie. So here we go. And the myth goes as foretold. In the Northern Isles, they say that on certain nights, when the moon sits low and silver on the water, seals crawl onto the beach. They slip off their sleek skins and dance under the stars. Beautiful human women and men, wild and laughing, their hair still glistening with seawater. But the story always turns the same way. A fisherman sees them. He hides in the rocks watching, and when one Selkie leaves her skin on the shore, he steals it, folds it under his arm, and waits until she's finished dancing. When she searches for it, panicked, he steps out of the shadows. He offers his hand. He tells her she's safe now. He tells her he'll keep the skin, so she won't have to go back. Without her skin, she can't return to the sea. She marries him, bears his children, lives a life that looks human. But every night, when the winds howl and the waves break against the rocks. She hears her kin calling, and she cries quietly so her husband won't wake. Years later, sometimes by chance, sometimes with the help of her children, she finds where he's, and when she does, she runs straight into the sea. She leaves behind everything, even love, because she can't live one more day without herself. So, the Selkie story has been told for centuries as a warning for romance. But when I hear it, I can't help but think about identity, about the skins we shed, about what it costs to live in a world that demands we live and shed our own skin to be accepted. So many of us, be it queer people, trauma survivors, anyone who's had to mask or perform, know what that feels like. And you hide the parts to make you fit in and that make you too strange, too emotional, too visible. You smile when you want to scream, even though you're crying inside, bursting to get out. You let someone see the version of you that they prefer to see. And before long, you start to believe that that version of you that they see is real and the only one that exists. But like the Selkie, who never stops longing for the sea, your body remembers. Her body remembers. Her skin remembers. And maybe that's what healing really is. The long, the salt-soaked journey of finding the skin someone once told you to leave behind. Now, when I think about this, I think about when I realized I was gay as a little 8-year-old in love with Velma in Monsters Unleashed in Scooby-Doo. And I didn't know what that meant, but I knew deep down it was something that people wouldn't like me to be. I was meant to be straight, looking forward to being a parent one day, looking forward to getting married to a man and being able to settle down and having all that lovely stuff around me because I didn't have any of the representation around me. Just like maybe a lot of you listening or watching this. And not having that felt odd. And that made me feel odd and as though I needed to pretend to fit in. Then when I think about the trauma that I went through, I knew I was gay. I knew what obviously my next door neighbor was doing to me was wrong, but I felt the same sense of urgency, the same panic initially, the wanting to protect others around me, the needing to protect my mom because of my dad being ill and in the hospice. And I felt lost. I didn't know who I was. I just knew that part of me had to be hidden. And then when I came out to mom, that I did by a letter, and she found it, I didn't know who I was as me. I knew I was gay. Other people, even the police that were investigating my case, knew I was gay because that was something then that I had to share with them as well. And so when the two worlds meet, I was lost. And do I think that you come back to the same person? No. Do I think that it makes you stronger? Yes. But you have to dig. Dig for the personality that you left behind unintentionally just to fit in and just to say that you're okay when really you want to shout and scream and yell at the nearest person and say, hey, I'm not okay. But I don't know how to explain what I am feeling. The same thing happened again when I went through the domestic violence. Because I was in a same-sex relationship, I felt like I had to hide that because domestic violence only happens in straight relationships. Wrong. So when it comes to the Selkie and what she felt as though she had to hide and give up her life out of the sea for returning into the sea after she found her skin again, it's heartbreaking. But deep down inside, you know who you are. She did. Oh, you do. You know exactly who you are. And it's a story of belonging as well as loss. You know where you belong. Deep down. You might feel as though you won't be able to say it because society wants to suppress it. I think we've all been there, right? But be you. Shove what everybody else thinks. Dump it in the sea. But yeah, that's my coffee shop confession for this week. Slightly long, slightly more vulnerable. But maybe leave in the comments your coffee shop confession. Link to Identity and link to the Selkies. This is a community at Blythe Coffee Break, one where we can all understand and gather around each other and share vulnerabilities because everybody else judges. This is judgment free, the ritual for this week. So, I want us to do a small ritual together this week. Something gentle to help you find your skin again, just like the Selkie did. So if you can, I would like you to close your eyes. Take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Imagine the ocean before you, endless, silver, live. See yourself standing on the edge of the water, holding something soft and shining in your hands. It's your Selkie skin, the truest version of you. Whisper to it, I remember you. I'm coming back. Now imagine stepping into the water. Let it rise, cool, calming, over your ankles, your knees, your chest. Feel that skin wrap around you again, fitting perfectly. You belong here. You always did. When you're ready, take one last breath and whisper, I will not live without my skin again. Open your eyes. That's your reminder that your truest self isn't lost. She's waiting right beneath the surface. It's incredible how much of an image that is capable of putting into your heads when you are doing that ritual. And I certainly hope that you feel a lot more at home and a lot more relaxed in your own skin. And if you don't, know that you will get there, just like the Selkie did. We all have skins we've hidden, names we stopped using, dreams we've buried, feelings we've been told were too much. But hiding doesn't save us. It starves us. The Selkie teaches us many things, but that love built on captivity isn't love. It's loneliness. And returning to yourself isn't betrayal. It's homecoming. So if you've been pretending, performing, passing, maybe tonight, let one small truth back in. Let the sea call your name. So thank you so much for spending this time here with me. And if tonight's story touched something in you, hold it close. And remember, no one else gets to keep your skin, not anymore. Take what you need from this tale, leave the rest behind, and carry it like a shell in your pocket. Until next Wednesday, until then, take care of yourself. And remember, the sea always welcomes back what the land forgets.
Thank you for sharing this coffee break with me. If today's story stirred something in you, remember, you're not alone. The myths we carry are old, but the lives we're living are ours to shape, even when they feel haunted. Take what you need from this tale, leave the rest behind, and carry it with you like a charm in your pocket.